What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today's featured blade is the TwoSun TS-33. Take a look at this, guys. Now, this is the latest iteration of a now classic design from TwoSun Knives. We've seen this design starting with the TS-20 model, and it has progressed in both design aspect and aesthetic appeal. The TS-33, the newest iteration of this, is a front flipper design. You can see your flipper tab on the front rather than a standard flipper tab out the back here. It works very well. It takes a little bit of a change in technique, but once you get that technique, it's pretty much the same. The TS-33 that we're looking at today comes in two different versions. There is a standard version with a D2 tool steel blade, and then there is this upgraded version with an M390 stainless blade. There are some other significant differences that we will go over later in the review. But let's go ahead, we'll set this down, take a look at it, and we'll go over some specs real quick. This is a full-size knife. It is fairly long and slender. You're looking at a 3.5-inch blade length, or 9 centimeters. The blade stock thickness is 150 thousandths of an inch, or 3.8 millimeters. Your blade width, 812 thousandths of an inch, or 20.6 millimeters. The handle length, 4 3/4 of an inch, or 12 centimeters. The handle thickness, 440 thousandths of an inch, or 11.2 millimeters. Your handle width, 940 thousandths of an inch, or 23.8 millimeters. And then that basically repeats in your closed width. As you see, the blade fully nests within the handle. So again, you're looking at 940 thousandths of an inch, or 23.8 millimeters. Your overall length, 8 1/4 inches, or 21 centimeters. Now, this does have a blade captured and recessed stop pin, so I was not able to measure that, but it seems substantial enough for the design. The behind the edge thickness on the blade is 27 thousandths of an inch. The handle to blade ratio, a very respectable 0.73, and your weight, 4.06 ounces, or 115 grams. All right. As I said, we've seen this design starting with the TS-20 model from TwoSun, and TwoSun is a Chinese manufacturer. I'm not sure if they're an OEM manufacturer or if they're now a design group and they're having an OEM manufacturer make this. Maybe somebody can let me know in the comments. But this is a brand that it's catching on within the community of those people that appreciate the higher level of fit, finish, and detailing and bang for your buck in these knives. And what I'm talking about is this. Let's compare this to an American-made product, and from no particular brand. But let's say you're looking at an American-made product in a titanium frame lock with an M390 blade and sort of standard features. It's on bearing pivot. It's got a hardened steel lock face insert, a decent pocket clip, decent hardware. In an American-made product, you would be looking in excess of $200 in cost. In this knife, with a very high level of fit and finish and quality materials, you're looking at about $70. That's a pretty good deal, guys. It's a lot of value for your money. Now, one of the ways that they save a little money is in their packaging. It is generic packaging. It does have the TwoSun markings on it, but there is no markings for model number or anything like that. It's just a standard sort of cardboard box. It's going to have a little bubble wrap pouch in it that the knife's going to come in, and that's it, guys. That's your packaging for your TwoSun knife. So we'll throw that aside, nothing exciting, and we were going to take a look at this knife and go over materials. Now, as I said, for the blade steel on this particular model, this upgraded model, you are an M390 for the blade steel. That is a Bowler Uderholm made steel. That's the name of the company. It is a third generation PM or powdered metal steel. It is a very high carbon, very high chromium, vanadium alloyed stainless steel. What you get out of this is extreme edge retention or wear resistance. That is the hallmark of M390 stainless steel, is a high edge retention or wear resistance. It will hold an edge for a long time. Now, the transverse of that, the downside of that is when you go to resharpen it, it's going to be difficult to resharpen as it's wear resistant and will hold an edge. It is also wear resistant to your sharpening media. So my advice is do not let your edge degrade an extreme amount before you resharpen. Good edge maintenance with M390 will save you a lot of headaches. Now, M390 does have good toughness or impact resistance, but that's not its best attribute. So that's why you'll see M390 used mostly in folding knives and small fixed blades. You won't see it used in large fixed blades where you might chop with them and have a lot and need a lot of impact resistance. Another good aspect to M390 is corrosion resistance. With 20% chromium in it, it has very good corrosion resistance. So if you're looking for edge retention and corrosion resistance, it is probably the stainless steel on the market right now. All right. Now we'll go into the handle. As per normal with TwoSun, TwoSun uses TC4 titanium for their handles. The small hardware on this is all stainless. It looks to be very high quality, very well machined with nice deep sockets on it for your tools. This knife does feature a machined titanium backspacer and sort of a geared pattern. You also have a machined titanium pocket clip with a machined pattern matching the handle. All right, now we'll go into fit and finish. And we'll just stay here with the handle because there are some significant differences between the two versions of this knife. In the M390 version, this one, the upgraded version, not only do you have the machined front scale, you have a matching machined back scale and machined titanium pocket clip. On the normal version of this knife in D2, the back scale would be flat and unmachined, and you would have the bent standard pocket clip on it instead of the machined titanium pocket clip. Those are also upgrades when you go to the M390 version of this knife. And, fit and finish in this M390 blade. Guys, I don't see any issue here. The finish itself is a high polish machine satin finish. It is beautiful with all vertical finishing with your primary grinds, your flat, your swedge grind here. All vertical finishing lines on it, but very high polish. It is very attractive. The machining is even on it. The plunges are even on it. It looks pretty doggone good, guys. It came pretty sharp. Now at 27 thousandths of an inch behind the edge thickness, and this is a narrow blade with 3.8 millimeter stock. So you're approaching 4 millimeter stock with that narrow of a blade and sort of narrow grind, so it gives you a more wedgy sort of edge profile on it. But it is very sharp. The tip is very sharp. Again, it instantly, with just the slightest touch, it catches. So the tip is very sharp. The branding on it, the TwoSun on the front, the night morning design etching and the blade steel etching on the back are very crisp. The script is attractive. None of it is overwhelming or too big for the area that it is etched onto. So it's not really a huge billboardy sort of knife. You do have a length of jimping on the back of the blade here. It is machined flat. It's decent jimping, But in my book, this knife is sort of a long, slender gentleman's carry with all of this extravagant machining and the matching pocket clip and then the satin finished hardware. This knife does not say to me heavy work knife. It is take me when you want something that looks good out on the town type of knife. And it's very much suited there. So this jimping is not a big deal. It does give you extra purchase and does extend all the way up onto that front flipper tab to give you purchase when you're opening it. All right. And it works very well for that. So we'll go into the handle. Again, you have got probably, and I'm going to say, you know, I've owned a TS-20 and I've seen these knives, the TS-33. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most attractive version of this knife I have ever seen. The machine pattern is extremely attractive, and it's functional too. It does add some grip to this knife, but again, this is not a knife that I would be doing heavy-duty work for, so the aesthetic appeal of this machining pattern is more important to me. But it is very, very clean, very well done. It does have, after the machining, sort of a bead blast finish, and it's probably with a very fine medium tumbled after being bead blast, because it's got some sheen to it you can see there that you would typically not have after a media blast. So I think that it was probably tumbled with a very fine media after that. The hardware, as I say, is an as machined satin finish and all looks very good against the titanium. You've got this milled titanium backspacer. It's just the right size to give some stability to this knife without closing up the knife so it's hard to clean out. So it basically gives you an almost fully open build like you would have with standoffs, but it does give you the structural integrity and rigidity that slab of titanium for a backspacer would give. Feels very good, guys. Again, on this version, the upgraded version, the machining carries on to the back side of the handle, to the lock side. Again, extremely attractive. There's just no getting past that for me. It's almost like a waterfall sort of flowing pattern, the way it's machined. And I especially like this pocket clip. You can see you've got plenty of clearance here underneath the pocket clip. It's got a good surface for clamping. It's got some flex to it, but it's fairly stiff. It clamps very well. It is not, extreme deep carry, but, that's about what you're going to have showing from your pocket. Just enough to grab a hold of, so it is fairly deep. It is a single screw holding it on, but it is machined. You can see right here, there is a recess machine for this, so it is not wiggly at all. It's not squirmy at all. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Now, it is tip up, which I do prefer, but you go to the other side here, it is not an option to change it over. I don't think, guys. Now, because I think there is a machined pocket here. And in fact, I know there is. I can see right here where it is machined, and you're not going to see that on this side, so it's going to be right-hand carry only, guys. But look at the way this pocket clip, the pattern, integrates. Now you move this off and the pocket clip pretty much disappears against that handle scale. That is a great detail. I very much like that. So overall, the fit and finish, the machining, the quality of the machining, aesthetics aside, the quality of the machining is very good. All edges are relieved. There is no sharp edges on anything. Everything is comfortable. No sharp edges where they shouldn't be on the blade and sharp edges where it should be on the blade. You've got a functional sharpening choil here, and that does go out past the plunge. so no issue resharpening. I can tell you right now, if I was going to throw this on my KME, I've got a nice flat here that I can clamp to. With this functional sharpening choil, it would be a piece of cake to resharpen this, other than the wear resistance of M390 steel. All right, so fit and finish, guys, I can't argue with that anywhere on this knife. Very high quality. So we'll go to the action. Like every TwoSun titanium frame lock folder I have seen, this is on a bearing pivot. It is very smooth, very easy, drop, close, easy to open. It's a bearing pivot, guys. You know, I don't know. It feels like a single row bearing pivot. I can feel the bearings. So it's not one of those silk sort of pivots where you don't even feel the bearings roll. I can feel these roll, but it is extremely smooth. I've got no issues with that. There is absolutely no play in anything, in any direction on the lockup. The lockup on this example is about 40% when you take a look at the insert that's on it. The centering on this example, just about perfect, guys. And I've not adjusted the pivot on this at all. Like I say, this knife is already sold to somebody. I can tell you I did check, and this does have a stylized pivot, but it does take a standard Torx for adjustments, so no issues there. So as far as the action goes on this thing, I mean, it's smooth, guys. There's nothing wrong with the action of this knife. The lockup, the centering, the feel of it, it's great. You know, I've got no issues there, just like with all the TwoSun knives that I've taken a look at. They're all very smooth, very well made, especially for the money that you have to invest in them. All right, so we'll go on to ergos. Like a lot of Kwaiken inspired folders and small knives, you have basically a slim, wide open, neutral design. This one in particular, you've got a slight raise to your edge and the point. The primary edge on this is slightly radiused. It would be a very efficient cutter, where the secondary edge is a flat, geometrically flat edge. But this primary edge is slightly radiused along its length, and with the rise towards the point, I think it would be a very efficient cutter. It does give you the overall sort of curved, traditional profile. The handle is straight, narrow. You do have a slight choil here, but it is not restricting. And this handle will work not only in a forward grip, a draw grip, a reverse grip. You've got a nice flat back here in your reverse grip for your thumb. It is just like on a Japanese sword, a traditional sword. It's pretty much a wide open, neutral handle style that will accommodate multiple grips and is comfortable. It is fairly narrow, thin, at 440 thousandths of an inch, slightly less than a half an inch. A narrow profile at less than an inch at its widest point, which is right here. It carries in the pocket. It's one of those long, slender knives that I really like. It gives you a lot of blade length and reach, but with the blade fully recessed and the overall slender profile, once you put this in your pocket, it hits that outside corner of your pocket. You can get your hands in and out of your pocket right next to it. It doesn't take up any room. It just disappears in your pocket, guys. And speaking of which, once this knife disappears in your pocket, this beautiful clip right here is going to be on the outside. And I got to tell you guys, I really, really love that machine pattern that's on this. All right, so ergos, efficient cutter, ergonomically neutral and usable handle profile, ergos are a win on this. All right, we'll set this back down. We'll do an overall on it and then close this out. Overall on this knife, if you are familiar with this pattern that started in TwoSun's TS-20 and has evolved over the last year or so up to this TS-33 model, if you like this sort of Kwaiken type semi-traditional profile, sort of Japanese inspired folder, this is a very good example to take a look at. The quality is high. In this version, the M390 version, you're getting what is arguably the premium stainless steel on the market in a titanium frame lock on a bearing pivot, hardened steel lock face insert, machined titanium backspacer, and machined titanium pocket clip. There's a lot here for approximately $70, guys. And TwoSun is not one of those companies that takes a real beating because they copy other people's designs. They do a lot of original designs. In fact, I think all of their products are original designs. Everyone that I'm familiar with is pretty much an original design. And take it or leave it, like the design or not, they are not one of those companies that you pull this knife out and somebody's going to go, ooh, that's a clone or it's a copy. They are designs unto their own. So I have very much respect TwoSun as a company for that reason. They've taken the high road as far as their design language goes. They give a quality product and an approachable price point, and they are respected for what they are. So I'm going to recommend this one. I love this little knife. I love the way it looks. I'm very happy for the person that bought it from me. We're going to move this one along. And I'm going to recommend it, guys. I'm going to recommend this one. See if you can grab one either in this premium version with the M390 blade or in the standard version with D2 blade. I think you will be very happy with it. As always, I thank you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.